holy.
Be Holy is a broadcast ministry of believers dedicated to saving the souls of all men and women.
We teach the words of God that people all over the world may hear the voice of God and obey Him.
God doesn't want to show us His wrath or His anger. He just wants us to repent and be holy.
And after one repents, he or she can be baptized in water in the name of Jesus Christ, but certainly not before they repent. Listen, we really can't even discuss prayer until one repents. Yes, hell is making its way towards the unrepentant heart, but it is Be Holy's commandment and mission to warn everybody, not to control, to warn.
The Word of God is spirit and it's life. That's why we take the Word of God seriously. We're not using shameful deeds and underhanded methods. We're not trying to trick anyone or change the Word of God. We tell the truth before God, and all those who are honest and live by truth, they know the truth, they realize that we are telling the truth.
Listen, friend, we've been preaching and teaching for over 20 plus years, and the Lord Jesus is satisfied with our efforts, and we want to keep it that way.
Next on Be Holy.
Hey, have you been delivered? Then you ought to tell somebody.
Be holy.
All right, listen, we want to welcome everybody back to Be Holy. We're glad that you're with us on today. Today's a splendid day. You are splendid people. This is a splendid program. I'm glad God, listen, I'm glad God forgives us. I'm glad He does. And if He didn't, we'd be in a world of hurt. I mean, all of us, not just me, all of us. We'd all be in a world of hurt. And, basically, this one lesson here, we're going to talk about. This is one of our Sunday school lessons, and we're going to talk about how when you're forgiven of a thing, depending on the amount of the forgiveness, right? Depending on the amount you owe, when you realize that, you tend to love the one that's doing all the forgiving. You understand what I'm saying? It's a thing of, let's see. The more, how does that story go? It talks about two people had debt, and because this person had loaned these two people the money, he loaned one $500, and then he loaned another one $50. But when it was time to repay the loan, neither one of them had the money. They couldn't pay back. They couldn't pay it, so they were in debt. So since they couldn't pay it, the person who loaned it to them just decided to, okay, well, I'll forgive the debt, I'll write it off. Just never mind. You don't owe me. The debt's gone. The debt's paid. And so Jesus asked one of the disciples, okay, who's loving more? The one who was forgiven of the 500 or the one who was forgiven of the 50? And he answered, the one who was forgiven of the 500. Well, she had a much larger debt than the other person. And because she had a larger debt, she loved more. Not that, $50 is nothing at all. But the one who owed 500 is loving a whole lot more than the one that, had the loan of 50. I'm sure she loved and all that, and thanks for the forgiveness, and really loved the person for forgiving them. But listen, if we really start thinking about this, think about your life. Think about my life. What have we been forgiven for? Was our life the sin that we were in? Was it like a $500 sin, or was it like a $50 sin? Either way, God forgave us for all of them, right? Some of us got $1 million sins. And so those people, when they realize that they're forgiven, they're going to love God. They're going to love God more than everybody, because they've been forgiven of those great sins that they committed and that they were part of, and that had been traveling through their family. I mean, it's just like that. The one who has greater sin and gets forgiven tends to love God more than the one who had the $50 sin or the $50 debt. That's something, isn't it? The more sin you're in, the more you value your forgiveness. The more sin you're in, the more sin you realize that you were in, the more sin you realize that you were guilty of, the more you love God because He forgave you, right? Well, some people just don't see it like that. They see it as, oh, I'm forgiven anyway, so it don't matter. I just go ahead and take advantage of the forgiveness. Well, that's good too. Take advantage of the forgiveness. Take full advantage of it. You know, but think about what you were forgiven of. Those who realize how bad their sin was and how bad it could have gotten for them in the lake of fire. They really, really love God. That's why you can't shut them up. That's why you can't put water on their fire. Their fire just grows higher and higher and higher and higher because they know what God has done for them. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's me. You know, my life was, you know, a horrible thing that I lived in and sin that I was a part of. Yeah. But there are people who were in a whole lot worse than I was. You get what I'm saying? A lot worse than my life. They were a lot worse. And even though I love God, I can only imagine what God says. He says the one who has the greater debt and gets forgiven loves God more. So do they love God more than me? According to what God says they do. But hey, I realize every day something else that God saved me from, and I love him more and more after that. Every time I realize that I love him more. So that's something that's another avenue for us to explore. How much do we love God? Think about what he saved you from, and then you'll kind of know how much God is seeing our love, how he's measuring our love. Well, listen, we're going to go into talking about this, which was when the Israelites were in Egypt, right? They were in Egypt. And some kind of way they ended up in slavery in Egypt. And they had a deliverer. God had already sent them a deliverer to get them out of there. And that was Moses, right? But the people, even though they had a deliverer, they had to listen and follow instructions. So let's start from the top. They were bound in slavery, right? They were bound in slavery, misused, abused, and everything else. That's just like everybody else's life. Somebody's abusing or using or something like that. So they were abused and used and bound in slavery. But they had to follow instructions. You remember how Moses told them to, when God was going to send the death angel into the city to take the firstborn of the children, of the boys, and the firstborn of the cattle, right, of the animals in that land. And so he told them to make sure that they put blood on the doorpost, and the death angel will skip over their homes, pass over, which is where the Passover comes from, will pass over their homes and not take their firstborn and not take the firstborn of their animals that they owned. But they had to follow instructions in order to get that blessing. So they were bound into slavery. They followed instructions. And then after they followed instructions, they after all the plagues, Pharaoh told Moses and them to just get on out of here, leave, get on out. They were giving them jewelry and everything else to get out. Just go and leave. So the people left, and Moses got them to the Red Sea. And matter of fact, after they left, they were obedient. They left. They followed the instructions and they left. They put the blood on the doorpost and they left. You know, they followed the instructions. I can't push that more. Following the instructions of God. They weren't the instructions of Moses. God told Moses what to tell them, and Moses told Aaron what to tell the people. So the people followed the instruction. And after they followed the instruction, they ended up at the Red Sea. And then God gave Moses more instructions on how to, they saw the opposition of water. Lord, now you let us all the way out here. You're going to kill us? No, that's not going to happen. He had already given Moses the instructions to raise a staff and watch, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Watch the waters divide. And so as soon as he did that, the waters divided. And the people went through the water on land, dry land, going into the other side of the Red Sea. Man, I can only imagine how that felt, going through the water like that. I mean, you seeing all waters, the walls on either side is water. I mean, you just see the water standing up on the edge, and the people are walking through. They're following instructions again. Who would do that? Well, they had a little push because they saw that the army was behind them again. And so they didn't want the army to take them back to where they had been delivered from. See, they'd been delivered from slavery. But they probably would have never been delivered had they not followed instructions. Instructions from who? God, not Moses, from God. God will give you instructions for your deliverance. And so if we listen to him, maybe we'll get the deliverance. Maybe he'll give us another deliverance other than what we're praying for. You kind of get it? Like we can pray for a total healing. Lord, fix my heart so my heart will be perfect again. Well, maybe he don't fix your heart, but he lets you live another 20 or 30 years with a bad heart. You thought you were going to die, is why you asked him to fix your heart, because your heart was giving you trouble. But then when you were praying for a new heart or for him to fix the old heart, well, he let you live a few more years. He let you live 30 years. He let you live 10 years. Right when the doctor said you only had 6 months, you ended up living another 20 years. You ended up living another 10 years. Well, I'm just saying, after you follow the instructions, right? You're bound, you follow instructions, you do what God has given you to do, especially when they're insurmountable. It just seems like there's no way. You're doing what he says, and then you get some kind of victory. You get to live an extra few years. You get that, or you get something else, or you get exactly what you prayed for, right? But once you get that victory, then you start singing a song talking about how good God is and what he's done for you. Let me read this to you. Exodus chapter 15, verse number 1. Then Moses and the people of Israel sang this song to the Lord, not about the Lord, but to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. He has hurled both horse and rider into the sea. Sing to the Lord when he delivers you. When he delivers you, tell somebody. Just tell them.
Thanks for listening to Be Holy with your host, Leonardo Butler. Our Be Holy podcast is at Podbean, or contact us at beholy116@gmail.com or 614-268-7757. Thanks for listening to Be Holy with your host, Leonardo Butler.
And for your convenience, you can now text the word GIFT to 614-363-6133. Again, the word GIFT to 614-363-6133. And we thank you for your support.
Be holy.